I'm going to show you how you can add custom CSS and styling to your GoHighLevel landing pages and funnels so it looks just that much better instead of a generic high-level landing page or funnel. My name is Gavin Wiener. I'm a top-rated freelancer and I help businesses with their automations, their sales funnels, and also their paid media. You can see here I've got a temporary page on HighLevel where I just play with different ideas and I use these to copy paste between projects. And for example, doing a couple of things just like this. You hover, it zooms in a little bit, hover there, and just the image zooms in. This one where the image shifts up a little bit, you've got a little rotate there, and then you can also combine things there, zoom plus a rotation. And this is all really easy. I have literally a background in computer science, but all I use for these things is a couple of custom CSS snippets, which I'll show you how I do. I use ChatGPT for that. And I'll show you how to actually get those integrated. You can see there, as you hover, you get a nice little shadow and a shift. So you can combine these things. So first things first, to do anything with custom CSS or styling in HighLevel or just in general, you need to have the CSS selector or ID. So if you click on anything in HighLevel and you scroll to the styles and you scroll to the bottom, you're going to have a CSS selector. Where you see a hashtag, that means it's an ID. It's unique to that specific thing. So for example, where I wanted to apply there, a hover on a specific item, a hover on a specific image, a rotation on a specific image, I'm using the ID there. But in this case, where I am wanting to apply this to any of the items in the row, so they all have the same hover and zoom effect, you can do that in two ways. You can do that specific with IDs, which it's okay, but it's a bit inefficient. Or you select a row and then you apply the style and the CSS to all the items in that row. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. So for example, CSS selector, I want to apply that to this image here. Okay, I've got that image, got the CSS selector, and when you eventually generate the custom CSS, which I'll show you, you're going to come in here and copy paste it in. And you can see here, I just named some of these snippets. And if you want some of these snippets, I have a link in the description that you can just grab a doc with these things. So you can see a shift image on hover, zoom image on hover, zoom section on hover. So you have these reusable snippets that you can just use over and over. And you can see here, if I was applying to a specific item, I just pop that in there and you're good to go. You're good to go. Now, how do I actually get these snippets? So for example, I wanted to do the zoom and rotate. So in this case, I'm combining two things. It just comes down to how well you explain it to ChatGPT. So it's like, give me the CSS that zooms in on an image and rotate the image at the same time. I could have been very specific and say I wanted to zoom just 10%, or I wanted to rotate just a tiny bit, like 3-4 degrees. But it's fine. You get that snippet, and I told it to use a placeholder for the actual item. And you can see there, I've got that snippet, copy paste that into the custom CSS, and I rotated that item in. This one is a little bit trickier. So for example, there's the row ID. I'm just going to copy that. This case, this is when you need to get a little bit more creative and a little bit more comfortable with what you're actually doing. So for example, here we go. I've got one row, but I wanted to apply the same shadow and the same effect to all of the items in the row. So for example, I'm building up pieces here. I know how to select a single item, but now I want to apply it to all the items inside there that have a dot inner and also a dot C dash column. I'll show you how I picked this up, but this is when you have to get a bit more comfortable with the custom side of things. And same thing, I want to apply the box shadow, and I just used the code snippet that I got from ChatGPT. But how I actually got to that custom row is, so you're going to need to go into the preview and you need to look at the structure of the row. So for example, this was the row. You can see that was the row ID. And I was like, okay, cool. How do I get to all of these individual items? So each item is inside another box with a class inner. And then each one inside there has a class C dash column. So I wanted to select all the items that have a C dash column. And all rows in HighLevel are going to have that. So for example, what I did was, okay, cool, I've got the main row, and I wanted to apply it to all of the items in the dot inner and then also in the dot c dash column. And that's how I got it to apply to everything. It's really not that complicated to add these cool effects. And obviously you don't want to do it too much and go crazy with it, but just a little bit of this, like hover on an image, zooms in, or it fades the other ones out in the background. You really can do this just by putting together little bits and pieces. So if you do want help doing this to your sales funnels, your landing pages in GoHighLevel, you can just find the link in the description. You can schedule a time with me. But if you just want to get access to these snippets that I've been building up for myself and I use between projects, you can also just go grab that in the description.